Now that the Giants have signed Russell Wilson, it doesn't really seem like they're super eager to draft Shedeur Sanders if he drops. Jets seem like they're sort of committed to Justin Fields for now, and the Saints seem like they're going to give Derek Carr one more year. So if Shedeur Sanders doesn't get drafted by the Browns with the second pick, and he might, he could be there when the Niners are on the clock with the 11th pick. If Brock hasn't signed an extension to this point and the Niners are still wondering whether it'll get done, do you think they would take Deion's kid, the 11th pick?
No, because I think Kyle really does not like those quarterbacks. He really doesn't. He was kind of forced to take Trey Lance in a way, or convinced, whatever you want to call it. Like that's why it gets with like they moved up to 3 and it was Mac or Trey. I just think like unless like he knows like this guy's gonna be really, really freaking good. I don't see like Shedeur being that guy. Like Shedor's solid. I think he'll be a fine quarterback. I just don't think he's gonna be ever like an elite guy. Even though he has the traits, he'll probably get there. Yeah, but I just don't see it. I think that's his game style is like a little too freelance that Kyle would like. Even the stuff that Purdy does himself, and he's should be a little more of the structured quarterback. I know he has that backyard ability, but even when Purdy does it himself, even the year they went to the Super Bowl, I remember that Jaguars one where he hits Ayuk to the left when he's rolling right, like that pissed him off. Like I think he's not going to have that. He's not going to want to deal with that, especially with the young kid. It's like it's just going to be like a frustration thing that I don't think he's sold on, especially because it's not going to be as glaring to him. I think that he's going to be one of the elites.
Fair. Let me try to make the case for why Kyle might like Shedeur.
I would like.
He likes Mac. He likes Mac, and Mac isn't the most mobile quarterback. Shedeur, he may freelance a little bit, but he's not that mobile, and he's not as mobile as Cam Ward or even Brock Purdy. Yeah. He says he models his game after Tom Brady. Hey, don't we all? But I think the way he talks and like the way he operates is kind of up Kyle's alley. He tries to throw with touch. He tries to throw with anticipation. He tries to win from the pocket. Those are things Kyle likes. He'd be cheap. He doesn't have to be elite. Just be on a rookie deal. And if you get Shedeur and you could trade Brock to the Steelers for the 21st pick, then you can get a defensive lineman in round 1 and a quarterback in round 1 and not have to give up 21 to 25% of your salary cap to Brock, which I wouldn't want to do. I'm sorry. I like you, Brock, but not that much.
Yeah. And maybe it's just because like I haven't watched every single Shedeur Sanders game.
Me neither.
So I could probably say like no more than like in terms of start to finish, like 4.
I'm sure you've watched more than I have.
Yeah. It's probably. I think you're right too. I don't think I might be a little too overdramatic on like how much his backyard play has been, but I just know that he has it there. And there's times where I've seen stretches in games where I've been watching.
He takes a lot of sacks.
Like, yeah, that too. Where he's kind
of a lot of sacks. He holds the ball a while.
That's the number one thing that would frustrate him. Like he wants the ball out of his hands, and then that's kind of was the issue with Purdy last year, right? He was holding the ball too much in his hands. He had one of the highest time to throws. And it's like whether he was taking sacks or making errant decisions, it's like, no, I want the good decisions. This is a quarterback fail-safe offense where it's like you have this and this. If not, do that. Don't try to like do too much.
That's why they like Mac, right? Once upon a time, the idea, even when Mac was at Alabama, he wasn't trying to do too much. He was just getting the ball to the playmakers.
It's the same thing with like Jimmy and stuff like that. That's why I liked him. It's like, oh, I know he's gonna hit this. He's just gonna listen, and it's like that he's not gonna do too much because he can't. He's physically limited. Where
I got another thing with Shedeur. Wouldn't you be kind of worried if you were coaching him that his dad would take your job? You know what I mean? Like if I miss the playoffs with your kid, is my boss going to fire me and hire Deion next year? Because he seems like he's one of the up and coming coach. Like he's definitely a leader of men. He's got the Dan Campbell. People would play for him.
I think if you're Kyle, maybe. I think if you're Deion, I think because Deion does have that respect for the Niners and like Kyle, that I don't think he would necessarily like be too into it. He'd be like, this looks a little shady. And he's like a very like a man of honor, Deion Sanders. So I think he'd be like, this doesn't look right. Which is why I was like, he was kind of mentioned more with the Cowboys. It's like, he's not gonna go with the Sun, but like going with the Cowboys, that makes sense.
Right. So like if the Niners don't take him at 11, the Cowboys could take Shedeur at 12 and trade. There were rumors today that the Browns were interested in possibly trading for Dak Prescott, which, man, you're already paying Deshaun Watson. I don't understand how you could bring on the highest pay, but it's the Browns. They'll figure out a way to do something bad. They'll figure it out. I trust them. They'll invent ways.
If Shedeur was there, I would love for it because I'm always for like the chaos and like just something new. And it's like, oh yeah, we're Brock. I kind of know what we're getting. Sometimes we'll get like the very high, like, oh, he's really good, and the very low is like, oh, what the hell was that? With Shedeur, it's like I'm always for the intrigue. I'm always for like, oh, let's see what he can do. I want to see the growth. I want to see what he can be. It's kind of the same thing that led us, or at least led me to liking Trey Lance. Like, all right, let's see what happens. I'm very intrigued by something new, by the new car to drive. I want to see what capacities do we have? What can we get out of this?
Let me try to continue to make the case for Shedeur. So he threw 900 passes the last 2 years at Colorado. He also played at Jackson State. So he has a lot of experience. And in 2 seasons, he completed 71.8% of his passes, 64 touchdowns, 13 picks. I mean, those are just numbers, but like he is an experienced college passer. He's not like Trey Lance coming in with like 350 throws.
Oh, yeah, no.
I don't know. Here's the other thing I want to say. I don't know that he's going to be an elite quarterback. I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is going to be an elite quarterback. I feel like Jalen Milroe has a higher ceiling than Sanders, but if he can be a good starter right away for the duration of his rookie contract, dude, he could win a Super Bowl. Whereas if you give Brock $55 million a year, he could go to some Pro Bowls, but you're not winning a Super Bowl. So that's why I'm intrigued with Sanders or any quarterback you could take who's like a day one starter in round one.
I think that's kind of like, at least what I've seen, what I've read and like seen has been said. It's like Cam Ward's the higher ceiling guy for long term, and Shedeur's like your now guy. That's why it's like, oh, he wouldn't make sense for the Giants. Yeah, sure they got neighbors, but like, okay, do they have a great offensive line? Do they have anyone else? I mean, like it's not the most. He needs to go to the more like kind of like ready team. And of all like the top 10, or I guess in this case 11 teams picking, like the 49ers are that team that could go for a quarterback.
Here's my only question. Do you think Bosa would like him?
I'm not going to touch that one.
I mean, you guys were thinking it, right? You guys were thinking it, but it was just me. Okay. Grega says, wouldn't give him anything over 35 million. Dave Sims says, Brick Lyle love hot dogs for shape. Grant, well, that's mean. All day, every day. Kim says, are the Niners trying to stay in purgatory? 50 million. That's what I'm saying, man. That's purgatory to me. Kim, Niners don't care about success for next few years, says Dave Sims.